Tony, the situation with Iran seems to be heating up. There seems to be a drumbeat both in Israel and in the United States that military action in some form is imminent. Are Iran's actions encouraging this drumbeat towards war?
Well, I think we need to be very careful. First, Americans may be reacting to the fact that the President, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State have all said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons and that we are preserving our military options. But there are fundamental changes taking place. The latest report of the International Atomic Energy Agency of the UN, for the first time, had a detailed military annex. In that, it surfaced the chronology of Iranian efforts which move it closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. It outlined the fact that Iran had virtually all of the basic technology to produce a nuclear weapon. Not that it had one or an active program to produce one, but it had brought together every single element of design and capability. It indicated that Iran had gotten significant nuclear weapons design information through China and North Korea indirectly via the AQ-Khan network. It showed that Iran was examining putting nuclear weapons on its missiles, which are a critical aspect of its programs. What also has shifted fundamentally is the timing of Iran's programs, because it is moving to the point where it will be able to put its enrichment facilities deep inside at least one mountain shelter, which would make it far harder for Israel to successfully attack and even delay the program and present problems for the United States. So we're not talking about being able to wait indefinitely. We're not talking about a threat that might materialize at some point in the indefinite future, because even if they don't go ahead now with nuclear weapons, we have to consider the fact that the world economy, our economy, is dependent on Gulf oil exports. And we're talking about the next 20 years, not what happens this summer.
What's happening now with Israel's posture towards Iran?
One of the problems we all have is that if Israel is to put maximum pressure on Iran, it has to make it clear that it is a real threat. And its political figures have to signal this threat is real. And similarly, if Israel wants to put maximum pressure on other nations to really enforce the sanctions, it has to make these threats. At the same time, it does face this potential time window. And the speculation here is just that. There have been all kinds of statements by various Israeli senior political figures. You can take any posture you want, and you can find a political leader, sometimes the same political leader, that will support it. It got so bad that last week Prime Minister Netanyahu was reported to have asked the cabinet to stop talking about this and stop creating a situation which people could misinterpret. But it's a very, very real problem. What none of us know, and where a lot of this speculation in the press borders on the irresponsible, is what is Israel's calculation about Iran's vulnerability? What is its calculation about Israel's strike capability? What is its capability about the aftermath of the strike? How real are these threats? How much does Israel feel a delay in Iran's program could actually be worth to Israel versus the risk that it might so provoke Iran that Iran would absolutely desperately rush forward to some kind of nuclear posture which could actually be more dangerous than the one that it's already dealing with? What does Israel think of U.S. efforts to help Israel improve its missile defenses and provide missile defense cruisers in the Mediterranean? What does it think of the prospects of sanctions? And here we have to remember, these new sanctions don't go fully into effect till July. There's a 6-month delay in the full enforcement of both the U.S. and the European sanctions. So will Israel be willing to wait? And then we come down to the fact, will Iran try to find some way to adjust its posture? And here, one of the problems we face, both positive and negative, is if Iran basically allows the International Atomic Energy Agency to do all of the inspection permitted under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, that will stop the fear of an imminent development of a nuclear breakout capability. But nothing in that agreement means that Iran can't go on and develop far better centrifuges or do what it's been doing and developing individual technologies that will help it develop and acquire a bomb. And the IAEA does not have the comprehensive inspection capability to look in every laboratory or facility inside Iran to see if an experiment is going on which might be related to weapons design. In short, there is no way to put a full end to this structure whether you bomb Iran or you don't bomb Iran. And I'm afraid a great many people have not really paid attention to that fact.
Tony Cordesman, thank you very much for your time.
A pleasure.
Higher enriched uranium. Iran says it's to turn the enriched uranium into nuclear fuel for its Tehran reactor, which caters to thousands of seeking to build nuclear weapons.